Lassie, 1954 to 1973, was one of television's most enduring and heartwarming series, following the adventures of the loyal collie who became a household name around the world. With its wholesome stories and memorable cast of both people and animals, the show defined family entertainment for nearly 2 decades and left an unforgettable legacy in TV history. But after the series came to an end, what happened to the actors and stars who brought Lassie to life? Some continued to build lasting careers in Hollywood, others chose quieter paths, and a few are remembered for the mark they left on classic television. In 2025, we look back at the beloved cast of Lassie and discover where they are now. Hugh Riley was born on October 30th, 1915, in Newark, New Jersey, and was 43 years old when he assumed the role of Paul Martin on Lassie in 1958. As Paul Martin, Riley portrayed the idealized small-town veterinarian and father, a man of integrity, patience, and moral authority who became a comforting anchor for audiences during a time of societal change in post-war America. The character's calm, rational demeanor often masked the intense conflicts he navigated off-screen, where Riley's personal life and early experiences painted a starkly different picture. Raised in a working-class family, he endured financial instability and the emotional strain of a fractious household, frequently facing ridicule for his sensitivity and intellectual interests, which were out of step with the rugged expectations of his peers. These formative experiences contributed to a lifelong tendency toward emotional reserve, yet they also fueled a disciplined approach to his craft. Professionally, Riley's career was a mix of steady work and frustrating limitations. Though his performance on Lassie was acclaimed, he struggled to secure leading roles in larger productions, often overshadowed by flashier personalities or rejected for not fitting Hollywood's archetypes. He was known to be private to the point of aloofness, sometimes manipulating public perception to protect his personal space, though he never courted scandal. Relationships were similarly complicated. Riley never married and maintained minimal contact with extended family, with some reports indicating a series of brief, intense friendships and romances that never culminated in long-term stability. His later years were defined by health challenges, particularly emphysema, which limited his public life and slowed his work pace. Riley passed away on July 17, 1998, at age 82, leaving an estate estimated around $500,000, a reflection of decades of dedicated but understated work in television and stage. Despite modest financial gain, his portrayal of Paul Martin remains a touchstone of American television. A figure of moral clarity and calm cultivated amid a life of quiet struggle and private resilience. Robert Bray was born on October 23, 1917, in Kalispell, Montana, and was 47 when he took on the role of Corey Stewart on Lassie in 1964. Corey Stewart, the rugged, fiercely independent forest ranger, became a symbol of bravery and connection to the natural world, qualities Bray embodied both on-screen and in real life. His childhood was steeped in hardship. Growing up in the harsh landscapes of Montana, he faced poverty, the death of close relatives, and relentless teasing for being small and introspective, which forced him to cultivate toughness and self-reliance from a young age. These traits informed his on-set persona, where he was known for both dedication and volatility. Bray's career was marked by peaks and valleys. His early work in westerns and B-movies earned him recognition, but frequent clashes with producers, fueled by heavy drinking and a notoriously short temper, cost him potentially lucrative opportunities in major productions. Co-stars described him as charismatic but unpredictable, occasionally manipulating scenes or negotiations to assert control. His personal life mirrored his professional turbulence. He never married, lived largely in seclusion after leaving Lassie, and struggled with loneliness and intermittent health issues. The combination of isolation, reputation for volatility, and alcoholism contributed to a quiet retreat from Hollywood before his death on March 7, 1983, at age 65, reportedly from a heart attack. At the time of his passing, his estate was modest, estimated under $300,000, primarily consisting of property and personal possessions, reflecting a career of dedicated work shadowed by personal demons. Bray's legacy is a study in contrasts, a celebrated, authentic screen hero whose off-screen life was haunted by unresolved turmoil, providing a sobering glimpse into the costs of Hollywood intensity and personal rigidity. Tommy Rettig, born December 10, 1941, in Queens, New York, was just 12 when he stepped into the role of Jeff Miller on Lassie in 1954, becoming the boy whose innocence, loyalty, and unwavering moral compass made him the heart of the show. Jeff was the embodiment of youthful earnestness, his quiet courage and compassion toward Lassie endearing him to millions of viewers. Yet Rettig's off-screen life was far from the idyllic image portrayed on television. His childhood, marked by the pressures of early fame and frequent relocation, forced him to mask his vulnerability and navigate the complex demands of Hollywood as a preteen, often facing ridicule and a sense of isolation that would haunt him throughout adulthood. Transitioning from child stardom proved catastrophic. Rettig faced repeated rejection, struggled to secure roles, and battled financial instability. Legal troubles compounded these difficulties. He was once arrested on charges related to marijuana cultivation and later cocaine possession, though he was exonerated in the latter case. Rettig also courageously spoke out against the exploitation of child actors, revealing he had received no residuals from Lassie's syndication, a scandal that exposed the systemic injustices of the industry but further complicated his professional relationships. His personal life was turbulent, involving failed relationships and periods of estrangement from family, which he later reflected upon in his motivational work. Rettig reinvented himself as a software engineer and motivational speaker, demonstrating resilience, though the shadow of early fame persisted. He passed away from heart failure on February 15, 1996, at age 54. His estate, estimated around $500,000, reflected a life of intermittent fame and struggle, a poignant reminder of the personal cost of childhood stardom. And the enduring legacy of the boy who ran beside Lassie remains both beloved and bittersweet, highlighting the dichotomy between his celebrated on-screen innocence and the complex, often painful realities behind the curtain of Hollywood's golden age. Jan Clayton was born on August 26, 1917, in Tularosa, New Mexico, and was 37 when she debuted as Ellen Miller on Lassie in 1954. Ellen Miller, the warm, resilient, and nurturing widowed mother, became an emblem of post-war maternal strength and moral guidance, captivating viewers with her to balance compassion and resolve. Clayton's own upbringing was far more tumultuous. Born into a family plagued by financial hardship, domestic instability, and the early deaths of siblings, she endured frequent mockery from peers and learned to mask vulnerability with charm and artistic focus. These formative struggles translated into both artistic drive and personal fragility. Professionally, Clayton achieved early success on Broadway, most notably in Carousel, but transitioning to Hollywood presented challenges. Typecasting limited her opportunities, and she struggled with alcoholism, a battle intensified by the tragic death of one of her children, which catalyzed years of personal turmoil. Her private life was equally turbulent. 3 marriages, public scrutiny, and custody disputes weighed heavily on her, and she eventually sought redemption through Alcoholics Anonymous, becoming a dedicated advocate for recovery and counseling. Despite these obstacles, she maintained a commitment to her craft, delivering memorable performances across stage and screen, while quietly influencing early television portrayals of women and mothers. Clayton died on August 28, 1983, 2 days after her 66th birthday, leaving behind an estate estimated at $200,000, a modest sum that belied the profound impact of her work. Her legacy endures as a pioneering figure in early television, a woman whose artistry was inseparable from the private tragedies, personal resilience, and relentless pursuit of professional excellence that defined her life. George Cleveland, born September 17, 1885, in Sydney, Nova Scotia, was 69 when he joined Lassie in 1954 as Gramps Miller, the wise and gentle patriarch whose warmth, humor, and moral guidance grounded the Miller household. Cleveland's Gramps exuded authenticity, a measured kindness and calm authority that resonated deeply with audiences, creating a comforting presence that became central to the show's enduring appeal. Cleveland's early life, however, was defined by adversity. He grew up in a modest household in Nova Scotia, navigating poverty, the loss of siblings, and limited access to education, experiences that shaped his work ethic and instilled a profound understanding of human vulnerability. His professional journey was filled with both triumph and frustration. He spent decades mastering vaudeville, film, and television, often enduring grueling schedules, uncredited roles, and creative disagreements with directors. Despite his reputation as a consummate professional, he was known for a sharp temper and a perfectionist streak, traits that occasionally alienated colleagues, but also ensured the depth and consistency of his performances. Cleveland's personal life was largely private. He avoided scandal, but whispers among colleagues suggested a quietly complicated emotional world shaped by early loss and lifelong devotion to his craft. He died suddenly of a heart attack on July 15, 1957, at age 71, leaving an estate valued at less than $100,000. Cleveland's legacy lies in his to translate a life of hardship into performances imbued with authenticity and warmth. An actor whose disciplined professionalism and understated heroism contributed to the shaping of early television while remaining largely outside the public eye, his story a testament to resilience and the understated sacrifices of character actors who sustain the industry's emotional core. Andy Clyde, born March 25, 1892 in Blairgowrie, Scotland, joined Lassie in 1959 at the age of 67 as Cully Wilson, the eccentric, nature-loving farmer whose comic timing, gentle wisdom, and idiosyncratic behavior made him an unforgettable presence in the series. Cully was a beloved mentor figure, infusing humor and heart into episodes while exemplifying a connection to the land and animals that resonated with audiences, particularly children. Clyde's early years were harsh. His family immigrated to the United States under dire economic circumstances, and he endured bullying for his small stature and Scottish accent, prompting a reliance on wit, observation, and mimicry to survive socially and emotionally. Professionally, Clyde's career traversed silent films, vaudeville, and early talkies, yet he faced recurring setbacks, including contract disputes, studio politics, and the challenge of staying relevant as he aged. While he was renowned for his comic genius, co-stars occasionally found him exacting and demanding during rehearsals, particularly regarding timing and delivery, though he avoided public scandals entirely. His personal life remained largely private, though friends noted periods of isolation due to relentless touring schedules and a lifelong devotion to work over personal relationships. He passed away on May 18, 1967, at age 75 of natural causes, leaving an estate of approximately $250,000, modest yet reflective of a career that valued longevity, mastery of craft, and audience connection over wealth, solidifying his reputation as one of the enduring icons of screen comedy and television. George Chandler, born June 30, 1898, in Waukegan, Illinois, was 56 when he became Uncle Petrie Martin in Lassie in 1956, delivering a blend of comic relief, homespun wisdom, and affable eccentricity that enriched the series' familial dynamics. Uncle Petrie's charm lay in his gentle humor, endearing clumsiness, and warm-hearted interactions with both Lassie and the Miller family, creating a character that audiences cherished as much for his sincerity as for his comedic timing. Chandler's real life, however, revealed a man of intense discipline and unyielding dedication, whose career spanned over 140 films and included a tenure as president of the Screen Actors Guild, where he navigated complex labor disputes and industry politics, advocating fiercely for performers' rights. Behind this professional resilience, Chandler faced private challenges. Minor roles were often uncredited. Studio politics and frequent casting disputes created persistent stress, and his uncompromising work ethic left little room for romantic or social fulfillment, fostering periods of personal isolation. While never embroiled in scandal, he maintained a reputation for occasional abrasiveness with studio executives, a reflection of his commitment to integrity over placation. Chandler passed away from cancer on June 10, 1985, at age 86, leaving an estate estimated at around $300,000, indicative of a career that provided steady income but not extravagant wealth. His life exemplifies the quiet heroism of character actors, indispensable to the storytelling of television and film, yet largely unrecognized, whose professional rigor and personal sacrifices create enduring cultural touchstones while their private lives remain largely hidden, revealing a man who devoted himself entirely to craft, discipline, and the subtle art of making audiences believe in the world he inhabited on screen. Cloris Leachman, born April 30, 1926, in Des Moines, Iowa, joined Lassie in 1957 at age 31 as Ruth Martin, Timmy's adoptive mother, delivering a performance that combined maternal warmth with a subtle undercurrent of intelligence and determination, though the limited writing constrained her potential. Ruth Martin's character established an emotional anchor for the show, balancing Lassie's heroics with human vulnerability and everyday moral challenges, giving viewers a relatable and nurturing figure. Leachman's childhood was marked by financial struggle, a strict household, and societal expectations that often clashed with her natural curiosity and ambition. She frequently endured ridicule for her assertiveness and intelligence, fostering resilience and a biting wit that would become her professional trademark. Her career, though illustrious, was punctuated by conflicts with producers, creative disagreements, and occasional public feuds that earned her a reputation as a formidable presence on set. She faced personal trials, including multiple marriages, public romantic controversies, and the challenge of balancing professional demands with family responsibilities. Beyond her career and relationships, Leachman endured losses of close friends and the pressures of public life, navigating these challenges with fortitude and sharp humor. She died on January 27, 2021, at age 94 from a stroke complicated by COVID-19, leaving a net worth of approximately $10 million accumulated through decades of acting, endorsements, and savvy investments, cementing her status as a trailblazing actress whose career and life were as bold, complex and enduring as the characters she portrayed. Jed Allen was born on March 1, 1935 in New York City, and was 33 when he joined Lassie in 1968 as Forest Ranger Scott Turner, a role that positioned him as the steady, dependable human anchor during the series' wilderness era. On screen, Allen's Turner exuded rugged charm and quiet authority, his calm demeanor complementing Lassie's intelligence and bravery, creating a bond that resonated deeply with audiences who saw him as both protector and friend. Allen's childhood was far from easy. He grew up in a working-class neighborhood where economic hardship and parental strictness shaped his self-discipline and resilience. Bullied for his lanky frame and awkward coordination, he learned early to mask vulnerability with confidence, traits that would inform both his acting and his approach to the relentless demands of television. His career trajectory was a mix of opportunity and struggle. Though talented, he frequently encountered behind-the-scenes disputes, including disagreements over character development and creative input, reflecting a simmering tension between his desire for authenticity and studio expectations. Allen was known for being charming, but occasionally difficult, clashing with producers or co-stars over script choices, and his biggest professional setback came when he was replaced in a high-profile soap opera role due to alleged on-set conflicts, a blow that he took privately yet deeply. Personally, he navigated complex relationships, including fleeting romances and periods of isolation due to demanding work schedules, though no public scandals marred his image. Allen faced the inevitable trials of aging, balancing health concerns with an enduring career in television. He passed away peacefully on March 9, 2019, at 84, leaving an estate estimated at $4 million, accumulated through decades of acting, a stint as a game show host, and prudent management, solidifying his legacy as a reliable, respected figure in American television. John Provost was born on March 12, 1950 in Los Angeles, and was only 7 when he began portraying Timmy Martin in Lassie in 1957, instantly becoming the emblematic child star whose innocence, bravery, and strong moral compass resonated with millions of viewers over 7 years and 250 episodes. Timmy's close bond with Lassie became a cultural touchstone, and Provost's ability to convey vulnerability and courage simultaneously made him a beloved figure whose character often carried the show's emotional core. Provost's early years were shaped by the challenges of being a child in Hollywood, strict parents, grueling work schedules, public scrutiny, and the emotional labor of performing while navigating ordinary childhood experiences. He often faced teasing and isolation from peers, compelling him to cultivate a mature, professional attitude beyond his years. Career-wise, Provost confronted the pitfalls of typecasting, turning down extensions and lucrative contracts to avoid being permanently pigeonholed, a decision that was financially and professionally risky, but preserved his personal and artistic integrity. Off-screen, he balanced the pressures of fame with the demands of family life and personal development, eventually transitioning into real estate and animal welfare advocacy, demonstrating resilience and adaptability. Provost's personal life was largely stable compared to other child stars, though he has navigated the emotional complexities of early fame, the loss of anonymity, and the ongoing negotiation between public adoration and private life. At 75, he continues to engage in philanthropic efforts and public appearances, maintaining a net worth of approximately $2 million, reflecting earnings from his early acting career, prudent management, and the lasting value of a legacy defined by beloved performances and enduring cultural impact. Robert Folk, was born on May 5, 1908 in Philadelphia, and was 50 when he began portraying Sheriff H. Miller in Lassie in 1958, embodying the quintessential small-town lawman whose stern demeanor was balanced by a dry wit and moral integrity. On screen, Folk's Sheriff Miller was a stabilizing force, a figure audiences could trust to uphold justice while subtly guiding the other characters, including Lassie's human companions, through moral dilemmas. Folk's childhood was defined by economic hardship and limited familial support, forcing him to develop both a meticulous work ethic and a private resilience. He spent much of his early life cultivating skills that would allow him to navigate both artistic and practical pursuits. Professionally, Folk's career was a study in perseverance. Typecast as gruff authority figures, he mastered his niche, but often faced the frustration of being overlooked for more prominent roles. He also maintained a parallel career as an architectural draftsman, demonstrating both versatility and a pragmatic approach to income stability. While he lived largely scandal-free, Folk contended privately with the frustrations of Hollywood's rigid hierarchy, uncredited contributions, and the precarious nature of character acting, which often limited both financial reward and public recognition. Personal life challenges included the quiet navigation of family responsibilities and the emotional labor of maintaining stability in a competitive, often unforgiving industry. He faced the inevitable stresses of health decline and aging before passing on February 25, 1989 at 80, leaving an estate valued under $200,000. Modest but reflective of a career built on skill, consistency, and understated professionalism rather than headline-making fame. Arthur Space, born October 12, 1908 in New Brunswick, New Jersey, stepped into the role of Dr. Frank Doc Weaver on Lassie in 1955 at the age of 46, portraying the calm, pragmatic veterinarian whose sage advice and moral authority provided the linchpin for the rural community and for Timmy Martin's adventures. Doc Weaver was the archetype of steadiness and compassion, his quiet yet compelling presence giving gravitas to the show's light-hearted moments while offering viewers a moral compass and emotional anchor. Space's early life was fraught with hardship. His father struggled to hold stable employment, his mother was frequently ill, and young Arthur was often ridiculed for his sensitivity and intellectual leanings, forcing him to internalize emotions and hide vulnerability behind a stoic exterior. His stage career began in theater, but was riddled with rejections and periods of instability, with Hollywood initially typecasting him into minor roles. He was known to clash quietly with directors over interpretive choices, insisting on authenticity, which sometimes delayed productions. One of his more serious professional setbacks was being passed over for a prominent role in a major Western series, a disappointment that lingered despite his reputation as a reliable character actor. In his private life, Space was introspective, maintaining limited friendships and avoiding the Hollywood party scene, though he experienced bouts of loneliness and regret over opportunities sacrificed for stability. He battled chronic illnesses late in life and ultimately succumbed to cancer on January 13, 1983 at age 74. At death, his estate was modest, estimated under $200,000, representing a lifetime of dedication to craft rather than financial ambition, leaving a legacy of integrity and professionalism admired by peers and protégés alike. Larry Wilcox, born August 8, 1947, in San Diego, entered Lassie in 1971 at age 24 as Dale Mitchell, a young, earnest forest ranger whose courage, integrity, and moral clarity anchored the show's final seasons. Mitchell's character was emblematic of hope and ethical steadfastness, resonating with audiences as both a relatable young adult and a figure of principled action, in a series often dominated by extraordinary animal feats. Wilcox's childhood was marked by economic instability, a post-war family environment, and the challenges of proving himself within competitive educational and social settings, experiences that nurtured both his discipline and resilience. Professionally, Wilcox achieved fame, but faced substantial challenges, including periods of typecasting, limited opportunities for serious dramatic work, and, later, legal troubles in 2010 related to securities fraud, which cast a shadow over his career and tested both public perception and personal fortitude. Off-screen, Wilcox managed the complexities of personal relationships, balancing privacy with public visibility, navigating romantic and familial responsibilities while maintaining a professional reputation amid industry gossip. His life has been punctuated by personal and professional obstacles, from industry skepticism to the volatility of fame. Yet he cultivated resilience, reinvention, and engagement with fans and charitable causes, reflecting a commitment to sustained relevance and ethical recovery. As of 2025, at age 78, Wilcox remains active in public life and philanthropic endeavors, with a net worth estimated at $2.5 million, representing decades of disciplined work in television, ongoing fan engagement, and careful management of career and personal brand, a testament to his ability to endure and thrive despite setbacks, controversies, and the intense pressures of Hollywood. June Lockhart, born June 25, 1925 in New York City, assumed the role of Ruth Martin in Lassie in 1958 at the age of 33, stepping into the shoes of the Martin household's stabilizing force with poise and intelligence. Ruth Martin was the embodiment of maternal grace, consistently composed, rational, and nurturing, a counterbalance to the high-stakes adventures surrounding Timmy and Lassie. Lockhart's early life, however, contrasted sharply with the serene presence she projected on screen. Born into a family immersed in the performing arts, she faced relentless pressure to succeed from a young age, contending with her mother's exacting standards, the public scrutiny of child actors, and repeated comparisons to her accomplished relatives. These pressures cultivated resilience, but also instilled a lifelong wariness of emotional exposure and vulnerability. Professionally, Lockhart navigated the challenges of a career that spanned Broadway, Hollywood, and television, confronting typecasting, the precariousness of child-to-adult career transitions, and occasional skepticism from producers about her ability to anchor a family-oriented series while maintaining dramatic credibility. Despite her public image of propriety, she was deeply aware of the cutthroat nature of Hollywood, witnessing colleagues face scandals, financial ruin, and career derailments, experiences that informed her careful cultivation of a scandal-free persona. Her personal life was relatively stable, yet she faced the invisible weight of balancing career ambitions with intimate relationships and family responsibilities, an often unseen struggle for actresses of her era. Lockhart also endured the gradual losses of peers and mentors in the industry, which reinforced her appreciation for longevity and careful professional management. As of 2025, at age 100, she continues to be celebrated for her enduring contributions. Her net worth estimated at $10 million, amassed through decades of acting, political engagement, and advocacy, reflecting both financial acumen and the ability to navigate Hollywood's evolving landscape without succumbing to public scandal or personal compromise. Thank you for joining us on this nostalgic journey through classic television history. If you enjoyed learning about the cast of Lassie and where they are now, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, Subscribe for more vintage Hollywood retrospectives and share your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing your memories and suggestions, so let us know which TV show or movie cast you'd